America just got rocked with one of the most stunning political shakeups of the year, and a turn of events that has the whole nation watching. Today's episode of The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell uncovered bombshell details that could reshape the political landscape heading into the 2026 elections. From shocking courtroom drama to explosive, new revelations about power players in Washington. This isn't just another night on MSNBC. This is the night that could change everything. Let's break down the most powerful moments from today's show, what they mean, and why the whole world is suddenly paying attention. In what Lawrence O'Donnell dramatically labeled a legal earthquake unlike anything we've seen in modern American history, the federal judiciary took center stage today, delivering a devastating blow to former President Donald Trump in a ruling that sent shockwaves across the political spectrum. The court concluded that Trump's last-minute moves to pressure the Department of Justice during the final days of his presidency amounted to direct criminal interference with federal law enforcement. The case, which has been quietly brewing for months, reached a boiling point today as the judge unsealed a trove of evidence previously kept under wraps. It's the most jaw-dropping revelation. Leaked audio recordings verified by forensic experts that allegedly captured Trump ordering senior DOJ officials to dig up dirt on his political enemies. According to court transcripts, Trump was heard saying, "We just need something. Anything, you make the case, and we'll handle the rest politically." This statement, now entered into the official record, may prove pivotal in the broader context of ongoing investigations. Legal analysts argue that this audio alone could lead to a new round of indictments, or even strengthen current obstruction and abusive power charges. O'Donnell, speaking with his signature intensity, said, "This isn't just politics. This is what happens when power collides with accountability." Tonight, America heard the sound of a legal strategy built on fear, on threats, on delay tactics finally starting to collapse. He explained that prosecutors had been under immense pressure to confirm the authenticity of the audio, using both voice pattern analysis and metadata from secure DOJ servers. Once validated, the recordings were enough to persuade the judge to reclassify the case from civil review to a potential criminal conspiracy investigation. Legal correspondent Rachel Maddow, who joined O'Donnell for a special segment, said the implications are far-reaching. If Trump knowingly tried to manipulate the Department of Justice to go after citizens and political rivals, that's not just unethical. That's criminal. It's authoritarian behavior in a democratic system. This newly exposed conduct casts a dark shadow over Trump's plans to run again in 2026, while his legal team quickly filed motions to challenge the ruling and suppress the audio recordings from broader circulation. Legal experts doubt the court will reverse its decision, especially now that the material is part of public record. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice issued a rare late-night statement acknowledging that former officials are cooperating with investigators, including two names believed to be close to Trump during the January 2021 transition period. Multiple sources close to the case report that subpoenas have been issued to several ex-cabinet members who are either present or aware of the conversations involving Trump and DOJ leadership. One former aide, speaking under condition of anonymity, told MSNBC producers, "There were meetings in the final week, emergency meetings. Everyone just knew the pressure was coming from the top. And that's not all." According to MSNBC sources, the House Oversight Committee has now requested transcripts from the court, and some members of Congress are calling for emergency hearings. Progressive lawmakers are demanding that Trump be barred from future office under the 14th Amendment. While conservative voices insist this is part of a weaponized legal crusade, O'Donnell closed the segment by warning that the next 48 hours could be decisive not just for Trump, but for the future of presidential power in America. He stated, "We are entering a phase where the legal system is finally catching up with political corruption. The question is, will the institutions of democracy hold, or will they bend under the weight of influence and fear?" Tonight's most jaw-dropping moment came not from a politician or prosecutor, but from a young former White House aide turned whistleblower, who appeared live in a shocking and courageous interview on The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, identifying himself only as Alex. The aide described himself as a junior legal assistant brought into the White House during Trump's final 6 months. What began as a career opportunity quickly turned into what he called a constitutional nightmare. The atmosphere in the West Wing those last days was pure panic, not leadership. People were scared. Documents were being rushed through without review, and it felt like no one was in control except the president himself, Alex said, his voice calm but heavy with emotion. O'Donnell's viewers watched in stunned silence as Alex gave chilling, first-hand accounts of chaos behind closed-doors stories that, until now, lived only in speculation. He detailed scenes of frantic late-night meetings where Trump reportedly screamed at legal staff, demanding legal justifications for what aides considered clearly illegal actions, including invoking emergency powers, seizing voting machines in battleground states, and using the military to secure federal buildings in contested areas. There were talks of executive orders that, if signed, could have put the U.S. under quasi-martial law, Alex revealed. I watched one draft order that mentioned using the National Guard to oversee a recount. That draft vanished within 24 hours. The biggest bombshell came when Alex claimed that multiple digital records were destroyed or altered during this time, including emails, internal chat logs, and legal memos written by Trump's legal team. These deletions, Alex says, were ordered directly by a senior official, whose name he handed over to federal investigators just last week. Even more disturbing, Alex disclosed that some Trump allies were compiling blacklists of political enemies, including members of Congress, state officials, and journalists, with the goal of targeting them if Trump remained in power. It wasn't just about staying in office. It was about revenge. And the list kept growing, he said. Lawrence O'Donnell, visibly moved, paused several times during the interview, reminding viewers that whistleblower protections are active and that Alex is now under federal witness security assistance. But Alex's motivations were clear. "I'm not a hero," he said. "I just couldn't live with the silence anymore. I had to speak up. I saw democracy being strangled from the inside," he continued. "I know people will say this is political, but I voted for Trump in 2016. I believed in him. What I saw in 2021 broke that belief into pieces." Reactions online were swift and powerful. Within minutes, the hashtag White House whistleblower was trending #1 worldwide on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Viewers flooded social media with messages of support, shock, and outrage. One viral TikTok user posted a side-by-side reaction saying, "This guy just did what 100 senators didn't have the courage to do. Tell the truth." The clip of Alex's interview already has over 12 million views on X, formerly Twitter, with calls from several members of Congress, including Representative Jamie Raskin and Sen. Elizabeth Warren, to bring Alex before a House oversight hearing next week. Meanwhile, Trump's legal team released a brief statement, calling the interview fabricated nonsense and claiming the individual has never had direct access to the president. However, MSNBC confirmed through internal White House records and multiple staff testimonies that Alex was indeed employed in the White House counsel's office and had attended high-level briefings during the final 10 days of Trump's presidency. O'Donnell closed the segment with a strong message. When history looks back at this time, it will remember the voices that chose to speak when it was hardest. Tonight, one such voice stepped forward. We're all better for it. As the legal chaos surrounding Donald Trump unfolded live on national television, President Joe Biden took to the podium in a surprise primetime address, swiftly seizing the moment to reinforce his stance as a protector of American democracy. In a move widely seen as both presidential and politically sharp, Biden delivered a speech that wasn't fiery. It was firm, steady, and unmistakably strategic. Standing in the East Room of the White House, flanked by American flags and framed by silence, Biden spoke directly to the nation, and perhaps more importantly, to the institutions under pressure. He began his remarks with a calm but commanding tone. "Let me be clear. In this country, the rule of law is not optional. It is the foundation of who we are." Without once mentioning Trump's name, Biden crafted a narrative that defended the legal system while simultaneously reminding Americans of the fragility of their democracy. He thanked law enforcement, Deutsche personnel, whistleblowers, and judges for doing their jobs under unprecedented conditions, and warned against any attempts to politicize justice. What made the speech stand out wasn't the drama, it was the presidential control. Biden didn't go after his opponents. Instead, he elevated the conversation. He described the current political moment as a stress test on our democratic soul, drawing comparisons to the Watergate era and even 2 moments from the civil rights movement, when the country had to choose between law and lawlessness. Our institutions are being tested, Biden said, pausing for emphasis. But I believe the American people are ready to rise, not fall, to rebuild trust, not tear it down, and to demand truth over chaos. This moment wasn't just about defending democracy, it was about political repositioning, according to MSNBC analyst Joy Reid. Biden's address was a masterclass in contrast. As Trump fights off indictment after indictment, Biden projected calm, unity, and constitutional loyalty. It's a clear signal to voters. One man respects the process, the other tries to break it. Behind the scenes, White House sources told the last word that Biden's team had been preparing this speech for weeks, anticipating a major legal turning point. Once the Trump audio tapes were released and the whistleblower interview aired, they knew the moment had arrived. But Biden didn't just speak, he acted. Within hours of his speech, the administration confirmed the following: a new presidential commission on legal ethics and executive power will be formed. The DOJ and National Archives have been directed to increase transparency on presidential record handling. Multiple Trump-era legal memos will be declassified in the coming days. These actions, Biden stated, are not about the past, but about protecting the future from ever falling into such danger again. The political reaction was immediate. Democrats praised the president for taking the high road, while many Republicans remained silent or deflected questions entirely. Independent voters, according to a quick overnight poll by NPR Marist, responded positively, with 68% saying Biden looked presidential and reassuring. O'Donnell summarized it this way: tonight, Biden didn't attack his enemies. He spoke like a man defending the soul of a nation. And in doing so, he may have just drawn the clearest line yet between chaos and calm, between autocracy and leadership. The White House has since confirmed that Biden will hold a public town hall later this week, inviting young voters, civic leaders, and legal experts to discuss the future of democracy, signaling that this isn't a one-night speech. It's a sustained movement. As the revelations unfolded on The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, impact wasn't limited to courtrooms or cable news studios. It hit the streets. It shook social media, and it lit a fire across the nation. Within minutes of the audio, leaks, whistleblower interview, and President Biden's address, America reacted, and the world watched in cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. People gathered, some in spontaneous protest, others in emotional unity. In Times Square, digital billboards flashed with the words breaking, audio tape released, Doge pressured. Crowds swelled as journalists, activists, and everyday citizens poured into the streets. Some waved flags. Others held signs reading, "Justice must win. No one is above the law." We heard the tape. He must be held accountable across the country. College campuses erupted with discussions, live reactions, and late-night student-led forums. At Howard University, students gathered around campus TVs to watch the replays on MSNBC, while law professors held impromptu Q&A sessions in open lecture halls. But the digital world exploded even faster. Within an hour, the hashtags, hashtag Trump tapes, hashtag whistleblower Alex, hashtag the last word, hashtag Biden speaks, hashtag American crisis were trending in over 20 countries. Not just in the US, but also in the UK, Canada, Germany, and even Brazil and India. One viral TikTok clip, with over 7 million views in 2 hours, showed side-by-side reactions from Trump supporters and critics listening to the leaked audio. The emotional contrast was stark. One user, nearly in tears, whispered, "I didn't want to believe it, but we all just heard it. It's real." On YouTube, streamers and legal analysts began breaking down every second of the audio tapes. Independent journalist channels gained thousands of subscribers in a single night. Political reaction videos filled the platform, many showing previously neutral voters saying this is the final straw. Twitter X hosted a Spaces session. That maxed out at over 100,000 live listeners, one of the largest ever, titled, "Is This the End of Trump's Political Career?" Panelists included legal experts, politicians, influencers, and even former Trump staffers who chose to speak out anonymously. MSNBC aired footage from various cities, including one clip from Phoenix, Arizona, where a young woman stood in front of the courthouse holding a handwritten sign. "I was 12 when he got elected. I'm 20 now. I've waited 8 years for this moment." Even conservatives began to show cracks. Prominent Republican voices like Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney released statements calling for immediate accountability and public hearings, while others in Trump's corner remained silent or dodged the media altogether. Meanwhile, in MAGA strongholds, tensions also rose. Trump supporters gathered in smaller groups in Texas, Florida, parts of the Midwest, waving flags and calling the audio deepfake propaganda, the court ruling a political setup. O'Donnell emphasized that while emotions were high on both sides, there were no major violent incidents reported, thanks to swift crowd management and peaceful protest coordination. International media outlets picked up the story quickly. The BBC, Al Jazeera, Deutsche, and CNN International all led with the headline, "Trump's legal wall crumbles, tapes leak, America reacts." By the end of the night, it was clear this wasn't just a political issue. It had become a cultural flashpoint dividing families, sparking debates, and reigniting national fears about justice, democracy, and accountability. Lawrence O'Donnell closed this segment with this powerful quote: "Tonight, the courtroom spoke. The president spoke, and now the people are speaking. History is listening." This episode of The Last Word wasn't just about one man's downfall. It was about accountability, democracy, and the truth finally catching up.
Oh, nice.
Lawrence O'Donnell didn't just host a show. He delivered a statement. A moment that will likely be played back in history books. As the world watches, America now stands at a crossroads. Will justice prevail, or will power find a way to bend the rules again? Only time will tell. But tonight, The Last Word just gave us the clearest picture yet of what's really happening behind the curtain. Like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dive updates on political news, courtroom drama, and the fight. For American democracy, hit the bell icon so you don't miss tomorrow's episode. It's going to be even bigger.